Well, happy today to be speaking with Jane Ford of the Joy Path. Good afternoon, Jane.
Hi, Lisa. How you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you, and thank you for speaking with me today.
Oh, I'm happy to, always.
Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and about the Joy Path?
The Joy Path is a business that I created a few years ago that brings together the kinds of work I've been doing with nonprofits over the past several decades. And the core of it is that I offer practical information and education to inspire nonprofits to achieve their mission. And I do this with a focus on three areas: fundraising, financial management, and board development.
Well, with all of your experience with nonprofits, right now, state of affairs, what do you see as the greatest challenges that nonprofits are facing?
Well, contrary to what you hear all the time, good nonprofits are still able to raise the money to achieve their mission. I think the discouragement that you hear on economic news and all of this sometimes puts people, whether they're in the nonprofit world or not, to think, oh, I won't be able to do what I need to do. And what I do see sometimes some nonprofits trying to do is to start to create programs and do activities that are outside their mission because someone's going to fund this for them. That may serve a very short-term solution, but it usually causes more problems long-term.
Now, do you work with nonprofits of all sizes, shapes?
I do, although for the majority of my career, I have worked with smaller nonprofits, which is generally defined those with operating budgets of under $1 million. Although with the proliferation of the internet and the work I'm accessing now, I may be doing research for a nonprofit in Africa or Idaho that could be any size. And I still actually have some clients locally that I started with when they were smaller nonprofits and now are in the mid-sized nonprofits. So
that must be very rewarding.
Well, it is, and I keep a strong focus on community-based nonprofits and faith-based nonprofits. I don't generally work like for the Red Cross or the large international groups. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but my heart's with the smaller ones.
And we're very thrilled that you're going to be one of our presenters on our March 22nd mini conference.
I'm excited about that.
Could you give us a little teaser about what you're going to be speaking?
The topic is called The Ask, which could lend itself to an innumerable number of things, but I'm actually going to focus on that period on how to do, quote, the ask. It seems to be the one thing that fundraising people or nonprofit staff that I talk to are the most panicked about. How do I actually ask for the gift? And I begin, and we'll begin the class with discussing the fact that the ask is probably only 5 to 10% of the total process of gaining money from donors. Because you begin by finding out who your prospect, who you're going to get. So you identify who you're going to ask. And then there's a long process of cultivation. You don't find someone and say, hey, I need this much money, can you give it to me? You know, you really cultivate the donor. And depending on the size of the gift, that could be a 6-month, a year, or longer process, whereby you introduce them to the nonprofit and what you do, and you learn more about them. It's like any relationship building. So now you're probably 60, 65% into the time you're going to spend, and you actually will do the ask. And then that might be 5 or 10% of your time. The remaining period is stewardship. How are you going to keep track of them? How are you going to keep them involved? So what I'm going to do is explain that process, but then focus on the actual asking piece. And the participants will have an opportunity to work in pairs or small groups, depending on the size, and do some sample asks.
Oh, excellent. So it'll be very hands-on.
Oh, everything I do is practical, yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Excellent. Well, thank you very much for speaking with me today.
You're welcome. I'm happy to do so, Lisa, anytime.